Hey, hello everybody. Good morning, good afternoon. Hi, Frederick. Welcome from Hong Kong. How are you?
Thank you. Hot and humid. I think that's the same in your case today.
Absolutely. The last week we had about 30 degrees Celsius, and over the night it started to rain heavily. And yeah, as you can imagine, it's quite humid right now here in Europe as well, but most likely not comparable to Hong Kong.
Yeah, we had a little bit more rain, as you may have seen in the news.
Yeah, right. Okay, then I think we are ready to start. So yeah, as said, Frederick is in Hong Kong. We will have the presentation today on the Stereo 70S, and it will be, as you know, a presentation about the functionality of the product, some details on the feature set, some highlights on the audio parts, just to give you an overview what makes this product standing out from the rest of the crowd. And this will take about, I would say, 40 minutes. After that, we will have the FAQ of roughly 50 minutes. So, but let me start with saying thank you for coming back again here. So we had a break of roughly, I don't know, 2 months is my guess now, summer break. So we are now back here in the webinar session, bringing you all the new products which are coming to the market in the fall. And the first to start with is the Stereo 70S. And of course, with Marantz, it will bring you the most musical sound into your home. So let's have first a brief overlook, very quick, what this product is going to offer. I called it a multi-purpose network stereo receiver. Multi-purpose is because it covers the streaming capability with HEOS technology built in, so all access to the music streaming services, AirPlay, Bluetooth. We have added HDMI connectivity, inputs and outputs. So you can connect all your digital sources via HDMI, but you also have the ARC for your TV. Analog and digital radio are built in, FM and DAB Plus for the European version. On the US market, it's FM and AM. Then, of course, we have a very nice phono stage, also built in, a phono equalizer supporting MM systems. We have the convenience of the HD GUI, which we also updated, and also now have the high resolution graphic user interface, which makes the operation of the product pretty easy and convenient. And we have the beautiful design. So the Stereo 70 is now also coming up in the new Marantz ID. Performance into your house with a nice pair of speakers. You are set to really enjoy all kinds of music or video contents. So let's have a look to the lineup. Where does this unit sit? As you can see, naming convention, I already explained, we changed amplifiers or integrated amplifiers from PM to model, while the stereo receiver is now called stereo. And the stereo receiver, the Stereo 70S, sits above the PM6007, comes to, in between to the PM7000N. And then you can see that we have quite a wide portfolio on amplifiers, 8006, Model 40N, 30, PM12, and on the as the flagship, the reference amplifier, the PM10. On the right-hand side, you can see the perfect companion to each of the amplifiers. You can see on some of the units I mentioned HEOS, because there's HEOS already built in, or you can get HEOS/streaming connectivity by adding, for example, ND8006 or selecting the SACD30N. So that's just as a brief recap on the amplifier section. How does it fit? Yeah, I already explained. We have the PM7000N, which is was the first connected amplifier, integrated amplifier in our house, in our portfolio without HDMI. And then we do have on the right-hand side, of course, the more upper class, more premium Model 40N, which already comes with the streaming integrated and also with the HDMI connectivity. And now the Stereo 70 somehow sits in the middle because it has all the streaming capability. It has also the HDMI connectivity. However, it doesn't, let's say, reach the Model 40N in the level of performance, of course. And it's also not as powerful as the PM7000N. So, but that's just to give you a bit of an orientation where the unit works. One slide overview how your system can look like. Actually, what you do need, of course, is Stereo 70, which is pictured in the center here. And I paired with that one a nice pair of Bowers & Wilkins speakers, the 606 S3, as you can see on the right-hand side. And then you have the option. So in this configuration, the system already does work because you have HEOS built in. You can stream your music and enjoy the sound. But you also can add optional equipment like a record player, a turntable, a CD player, where I pictured here the CD60. And you can connect all your video sources, your TV, your Blu-ray player, or any kind of media streamer like Apple TV, for example. Let's focus on three pillars here in this presentation. One is, of course, the exquisite slimline design. I want to focus on and give you some information. Then we have the advanced AV and streaming capability with all the features I already mentioned about HDMI and HEOS and all the video formats supported. And then we go into the build quality, where we actually do get our pure hi-fi sound quality from this multi-purpose network receiver. So let's have a look to the design. You might have seen this type of information on earlier webinars where we talked about Model 30 or the Model 40N, SACD30N. But let me just quickly repeat it. These, let's say 4 elements actually define the design or are iconic for the design of Marantz. We have the symmetry. So if you make a vertical line in the center of the product, you actually can see that from there is more or less mirrored. So it's a symmetry in the design. It's a very nicely balanced design. Overall, it's clean. It's not overloaded with too many buttons just for the functionality which is needed. We added the button, but already kept it very clean. Then we have the porthole display, which is of course quite iconic in the center of the product, which immediately identifies the Marantz product or the Stereo 70 as a Marantz product. We have the warmth, the warm feeling, the touch with the nice and yet two-level front plate with the center part which stands out a bit, and then the back shell with the nice structure on it. Really gives a nice three-dimensional picture. And then, of course, the Marantz mark, which clearly identifies the product as a Marantz. On the right-hand side, you see the remote handset. Also here, we do adapt in the same style like we have done on the more premium product like Model 30 or Model 40N. This one now, as we have also the HDMI connectivity, is the same remote or similar remote like, for example, of the Cinema 50 or Cinema 60. Just to give you a bit our, let's say, inspiration. So the most musical sound is for your home is what we want to give you, and our luxury craftsmanship is how we are going to give it to you to achieve it. Here is now the black unit pictured, but also, of course, it's available in silver gold. Let's go to the details. I'm focusing here on the upgrades because as our customer, you surely know that this product is a successor of an NR1200, our former network stereo receiver, also featuring the HDMI connectivity and the streaming capability and the analog radio and the digital radio. But let's have a look. What are the upgrades here? So first of all, of course, very obvious, the design. Then we have a new remote handset, which also has backlit functionality. Latest network platform, the AIOS. It's our internal name actually for HEOS. 6.5 is the latest network platform. And this also helps us to get the new HD GUI into the product. Then we have the support of HDMI 2.1, 8K capability, and all the different features of HDMI 2.1, which are laid out on other slides. We have the amplifier circuitry, which of course we also have improved optimized, use of different components, different circuit designs chosen to optimize the overall quality. Then for the first time, which wasn't supported by the NR1200 and which really makes a big difference on the sound quality, is the HDAM SA2 integrated into the Stereo 70S, and this derives from the Cinema 40. So that's the same solution we used in there. Then we have the preamplifier mode, coming to that one later on. Bluetooth is not only receiving the signal, but also transmitting the signal. So you can hook up your Bluetooth headphones directly to it. Rear USB power supply and network standby consumption is also reduced, and it's now below 2 watt. So let's have a quick look to the HD GUI. You're familiar with it from our Cinema series already. The HD GUI is now much more pleasant to look at. We have the nice tail background, this greenish color in the back. We have a high resolution 1080p for it, so that you can see all the details. We can nicely work with finer text information and so on. On the right hand side you can see the old style, so I think that's quite a big step up here. And also for the Stereo 70S, we do offer the web user interface, so which you can reach either by entering the IP address into your web browser, or you can also use the app, the remote app for the unit, and there we do have a special button to click on, so it will automatically open the web user interface, which actually mirrors all the setup functionalities. How to obtain the IP address, because I just mentioned you can also just enter the IP address into the web browser. So actually 2 steps. On the left hand side, when you take the product out of the box when it's new, so you normally get the prompt that you have to connect your TV to the HDMI output of the Stereo 70S to get the on-screen display, which will guide you through the whole setup process. Of course, it's a stereo unit, so you don't have to do that many of adjustment or settings. So you can also skip this one, and that's done by pressing just the status button on the remote for 5 seconds. And then this message will disappear, and the prompt to connect the TV will disappear. You can just use the unit. In this normal operation mode, if you press the button, the status button 5 seconds again, you will see the list of IP address, MAC address, and so on, all the stuff you can see on the right hand side. So that's very convenient, very easy to get access to these detailed network information. The remote handset, as said, it's backlit, so it's also nice to operate in darker environments. You have the direct access keys, and you also have the smart select keys, where you can program on certain scene or playlist, whatever you like. So it's very nice to use for the operation of the product. The smart select also here, you can configure what kind of features are, let's say, or what kind of information are stored behind the smart select button. So that's the same functionality we also have on the Cinema series. Then let's go to HEOS, our network platform. As you can see, it offers you access to all the music services, which you can see in the cloud on the right top side. While on the left hand side, you can also see that you have Bluetooth, AirPlay support. You have app support, of course, but also voice control, yeah, with Siri, Alexa, and also Google. And as well, you have USB connectivity, you have DSD and high-res support. So that's all covered by the HEOS module, the HEOS built-in technology. Left-hand side, just a screenshot of the app, which is coming to control all your music services and to push the contents to the Stereo 70S. Top right, I just put a picture to remind you that also HEOS is capable of doing multi-room. Wireless multi-room means you can share the contents playing on the Stereo 70S to other HEOS equipped products in the house. what I would like to give you here, talking about HEOS, is a quick update on achievements we have made, because you might say, okay, we haven't seen a lot of changes on HEOS over the while. There are no additional music services, there's no new functionality, etc. pp. However, what I would like to highlight here is that we actually do work continuously on improving HEOS. To work more flawlessly, more reliable, more user-friendly. And that's overall, you can see it on the last sentence I wrote, it's all made to improve the customer experience. So we improved the implementation of Amazon Music, adding playlists and selecting tracks, single tracks. Counterbalance always if music services are changing. So you can imagine they do changes on their side, and we have to adapt on the HEOS app so that keeps on working properly. Manually adding URLs to tune in, so that even if not listed radio stations can be listened to via the HEOS. Easy onboarding. We improved really the way to get a unit connected to the network. So all these do make a better user experience. Stay tuned, because we still are working on a very nice improvement, which I hope we still can launch within this year. So stay tuned here. All this work finally results in improved customer ratings, and you can see some 5-star reviews here, but I think it's even much more impressive or easier to get here. So these are now the ratings from when did it start? Let's say beginning of 2021. And you can see how the rating improved over the time up to April 2023 now for the Google app on the Google Play Store. So really the customer experience is getting much better, and we got a lot of much more 5-star and 4-star ratings, and even 3-star, and all the negative rating really are decreasing. And if we look to Apple, it's even more impressive. By the change beginning of let's say end of 2021, we did a dramatic change in the way some services has been handled by the cloud or via the cloud. The customer experience really improved. So this I just want to highlight to you. Even if you don't see any visual changes in the HEOS app or HEOS application, we really do a lot for it on it to improve customer experience, and that's what I just want to show you here with the customer ratings. So very happy with the result. But let's go back to the Stereo 70. Just a quick look here to the back of the product. I will start top left, just going around. Flasher input for external control, digital inputs, USB input to connect your USB hard disk, and this one also supports now FAT32 and NTFS formatting, LAN connection. Another USB input, which is just a power supply, coming to this one later on. 6 HDMI, 3 of them 8K capable, HDMI ARC, network connectivity for the Wi-Fi antennas, which is also used, of course, for HEOS, Bluetooth, and AirPlay. And we have 2 antennas to have really reliable connectivity. Speaker AB, which can be switched, of course, A, B, or A plus B. Zone 2 output for multi-room purpose. Pre-out and dual subwoofer output. Analog inputs, DAB FM antenna, and the phono MM. So it's fully equipped unit. The Stereo 70 is, with all the capabilities you can think of, all the sources you can think of can be handled by the Stereo 70, yes. Let's have a quick look to Bluetooth. I mentioned before, okay, receiving Bluetooth information from your smartphone or a tablet was possible before. Now we also added the capability of Bluetooth transmission. That means the audio signal on the receiver can be sent to a pair of headphones, and this can be done in parallel to the speaker output or just only to the headphones, and you can also adjust the volume for the headphones in case the headphones do not support volume adjustment. Then the USB, the power USB output on the rear. That's actually we installed to easily integrate Fire TV sticks, for example, which normally do need the power supply, like a little power brick, power adapter connected to it. But now you can get the power directly from the USB output on the rear, and it does support 1.5 ampere, so that's sufficient to feed any kind of streaming stick. Subwoofer output, also here the possibility, of course, to have two subwoofers connected directly. Internally, these are running in parallel, and you can set different crossover frequency from 40, 60, 80 up to 250 Hertz for the best integration of your subwoofer in the system. So in the case you want to have bookshelf speakers and have more power in the bass, that's the way to go. Then actually this one here holds two informations or even three informations. So we have the preamplifier mode. First of all, nicely that we have added the pre-outs on the Stereo 70S, which makes it possible to use this stereo receiver with a slim form factor even in bigger installations by just adding a power amplifier to it. If you really want to run big speakers and you have a very nice preamplifier. To get the best pre-out signal, we have the preamp mode, which means that we disconnect the preamp from the main amplifier, which improves the signal quality on the pre-outs. But you, of course, can also run these in parallel. The other thing I wanted to mention here, to highlight here, is the red letter HDAM, which is written here. I mentioned before, the first time that we implement HDAM in the Stereo 70S, and that really nicely improves the audio quality. And as you can see where it's placed, it improves the quality not only for the amplifier section, but also for the pre-out section. So in either way you use the unit, you benefit from the addition of the HDAM. HDAM, just a little reminder here what it's all about. HDAM stands for Hyperdynamic Amplifier Module. So it's our small signal amplifier, where normally ICs are used, but we build it up by discrete components because we just get a better performance out of it by making it discrete instead of an integrated circuit. So we have a better slew rate. Slew rate means actually how fast the circuitry can react off an impulse on the input. How fast can I see it, the amplified signal on the output? Yeah, so high slew rate is very important to have also a high bandwidth. Low impedance means less stress for the circuits which have been placed before. So it's easy to operate, easy to drive. And it can support a high current output. We have less distortion of the signal, and overall, all our discrete components, we can touch all the components to tune the sound like we want to have it for Marantz. Yeah? A detailed and precise sound image. As mentioned before, the same circuitry we do use on the very much more expensive Cinema 40. Then, of course, the heart of an amplifier, where all the energy comes from, is the power supply, and here we do have a quite strong power transformer, which is pictured on the right picture on the left side, the big block actually. And then we have slightly right beside it, halfway covered, are the main capacitors, which actually store the energy which is coming from the power transformer. And these combination with all the surrounding parts do deliver the energy, which actually will be sent then to the output stage, to the amplifier stage, and really have a big impact on the sound quality. That's why we always pay a lot of attention to the power supply to make it strong and reliable. And then to tweak the sound even further, we have, of course, high quality sound parts, which we do, when we don't get the off the shelf what we want to have, the characteristic, we define new parts with suppliers and get our special custom-made components. On the right-hand side, you can see high-quality audio parts, which we can pick from off the shelf, but The key is, of course, here we have to know what actually is going on with applying this part to a certain area in a circuitry to get some Marantz sound quality. Mechanical construction, also here, you know, vibration is never nice. It doesn't matter if it's in your car or in your hi-fi. You don't want to have vibration because all these vibration can interfere with the audio signal, and that you don't want to have. So a solid foundation is always important. That's why we have our high density feet applied to Stereo 70S. Then overall, there's no magic in sound tuning, but a lot of experience and time spent. Yeah, so just to summarize here, you see our sound master, Yoshinori Ogata-san called, and he is responsible for tuning our products. And as mentioned before, having the good parts is one thing, but putting the good parts on the right spots in the circuitry is another thing. And that's where Ogata-san is spending a lot of time to find the right combination of parts to achieve our sound goals of having musicality and enjoyment if you listen to the product. Yeah? Large sound stage, high level of details and clearness, focus, openness, and tight and solid and high speed bass. So all this together, of course, gives you the Marantz sound you do expect from a Marantz and which you enjoy on a Marantz. And that's also where the Stereo 70S is doing the same thing and not falling short. Unpacking experience, as you know from the other models we already launched, we have the nice accessory box which keeps everything nice in place, remote antennas, quick setup guide, batteries. So it's very nice to unpack and easy to start for the customer. Let me summarize some features here, just to give it all a quick overview. So we have the slim hi-fi solution to get the most musical sound. Yeah? Nice small design, small form factor, nice Marantz design, new with a remote handset. And we have the capability of streaming and video. So it's all there. Living room friendly because of the small form factor, which I just mentioned. Strong power supply, so we have the capability also to drive bigger size speakers without any problem. HDAM technology and custom-made audio parts. That's all to get the Marantz sound to best level we can get out of the Stereo 70S. HDMI connectivity, of course, including 8K support. The remote with backlit. Talking about power feature or power specs, it has 2 times 75 watts on 8 ohm. Yeah, RMS means a full range signal from 20 hertz up to 20 kilohertz with a very low THD of 0.08%. Speaker AB, phono, DAB, FM radio, it's all there, HDMI and HEOS. Selected components we talked about. We have the Bluetooth headphones. Just to remind you, yeah, you also can adjust the volume via the Stereo 70 on your Bluetooth headphones, which you can connect. And then we have, of course, HDMI connectivity. Talking about HEOS, just to remind you, streaming, AirPlay, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, multi-room, that's all covered by HEOS, plus the HD GUI. And then we have the voice control feature as well. So that all sums it actually up, the multi-purpose network stereo receiver, which is a very nice addition to our lineup. Launch time is October this year. Pricing is €1,000, both colors available, black and silver gold. To help you on the sales front, I would like to make you aware of material we do prepare. On the left-hand side, you can see our nice product sheet, which is actually a 2-pager. On the front side, as you can see it here, you get some pictures and some feature and benefits for the customers lined out so that you really have good arguments at hand to explain. On the flip side of the page of this product sheet, you will have all the specification listed of the product. All right, just to sum it up, the 3 pillars we talked about: design, very nice, will fit the product, the Stereo 70S will fit in any living room, in any smaller space. because the height is just roughly 10 centimeters, which is very low profile. It can also nicely work in CI projects if you want to have where space is limited in your rack, and you use this unit either with a built-in amplifier or via the pre-outs. Then you have all the connectivity, advanced AV with HDMI 8K, but also streaming with HEOS and all the streaming services, AirPlay, Bluetooth, it's all covered. Not to forget about DAB Plus and digital radios and FM radio, plus the phono EQ, which is also built in. And then on the audio quality side, I presented to you the audio tuning done by Ogata-san with selected components to achieve our sound goal, the most musical sound from Marantz with an open sound stage with high level of details, a good tonal balance, and a tight bass. So that's it about the Stereo 70S, which I wanted to show to you. And I would say now, Frederick, come back and fire up the questions if you have any.
Yes, we actually do have a few questions. I was wondering there was not something showing up, but yes. So is the Bluetooth streaming headphone retransmission ability, is that possible to use simultaneously, or is it either transmitting or receiving?
No, it's either one. Yeah, either you can stream to the unit or receive from the unit. It doesn't work in parallel.
Okay, so how are we processing Dolby Vision or Atmos? We only have 2 channels, so obviously, how does that work? It's pass-through or?
Yeah, so Dolby Atmos is in this respect not supported. Yeah, because you have 2 channels. Yeah, you will if you stream the signal, it will automatically down convert it to 2 channels.
Which makes perfectly sense, of course. You need high channels to get that 3D sound. So another question, can you quickly explain the benefit over the Cinema 70S? They're both AVRs, but there's obviously a difference. So same form factor, but 7 channels versus 2 channels.
Correct, yeah. It's a good question, actually, because I didn't pay really a lot of attention to it. But the benefit of the Stereo 70S in this respect here, in this in this comparison, is that we can put more focus on the stereo performance. So you have to imagine in the Cinema 70, there's one power supply which has to feed 7 channels. If we have one power supply which only has to feed 2 channels, of course, the quality we can achieve getting out of these 2 channels is better than if you have a power supply which has to serve 7 channels. The overall internal circuitry, it's more like an integrated stereo amplifier. It's not comparable to an AV receiver, which has a completely different structure. The only, let's say, similarity is that actually the HDMI board, where also the network module sits on, is more or less identical. But the whole area around the amplification, the power amplification, is completely different.
Yes, and it sounded amazing. And we were able to hear the demos when we were at the Shirakawa workshop in Japan, where they first demonstrated to us, and we were blown away that you can get such a nice hi-fi quality out of this small, slim form factor, so to speak. What type of recommendations would you give from our portfolio from Massimo speakers that are a very nice match? I mean, you can see something on the background. So what's your suggestions?
Yeah, look, if you look price-wise, I think if you go for the 600 series, the 606, 607, or you can also take one of the floor stands, the what's it called, 603. I think that's a pretty nice match. Yeah, so price-wise, the 603 might be already a bit over the top. I don't know if customers are willing to have these price combination, but you also can have a look to some of the Polk speakers.
Yeah, specifically the Reserve series, they match very well as well. There's some kind of synergy between Bowers and Marantz, there's a similar type of likable synergy between Polk and Marantz. It's a no-brainer. It's very easy, very flexible.
Nicely take is, for example, Signature Elite, the 50 floor stand speaker. Yeah, also a good match.
That's right. We're talking about different types of speakers, so A and B. How do you control the A and the B zone, or I would say switching between A and B? Is that possible to control it from the HEOS app, or is it only on the front panel?
You can do it from the HEOS app, and you can also do it via the menu of the receiver, via the remote.
Perfect, so it's very flexible. Speaking of the front panel, somebody was asking what kind of material? Is it the composite material, or is it the aluminium there where the buttons are in?
No, it's a composite.
Composite, perfect. Okay, I think we're nearly through. I'm trying to check if there's anything else coming in from anyone else so far, but we've pretty much covered everything. We covered all the unique selling points. I think everything is pretty much clear. Yes, somebody was asking something about the HEOS app. Tidal has changed the way they distribute. MQA wasn't supported, but they are now streaming in FLAC. And FLAC, that's something we can reiterate as soon as Tidal is making this available, because currently it's only running on their native apps. As soon as Tidal is making the third-party application open to third-party vendors like us, then we will be able to also offer high-res FLAC through the HEOS app. One more question from Suresh. Is this Wi-Fi 6 compatible?
Wi-Fi 6, no.
AC, right, currently?
Yeah, correct.
Is there some type of room correction installed in the Stereo 60?
No, it's let's say it's pure. Yeah, the only room correction you can do is your bass and treble and balance, of course.
Very good question. Is there plans for a Windows version of the HEOS app? Right now it's iOS, it's Google Apps, Android. I think there might be another format on, what is it, from Amazon, Kindle format?
Correct, yeah. But there's no plan for a Windows app.
Okay, but you are able to use the web user interface to change some of the settings, so that might help to a certain extent. Okay, Oliver, I think we're through.
Thank you very much, Frederick, and yeah, everybody have a nice day, and see you soon. About in 2 weeks, we are going to have our next webinar. Take care.
That's right.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye for now.